Our silly game saved my daughter's life. When my daughter Iris was 7, she became obsessed with this idea that we needed a secret way to communicate in emergencies. She'd just learned about World War II codebreakers in school and was convinced that every family needed their own private language. I thought it was adorable, so I played along. We spent an entire weekend creating what she called the Sunshine System because she wanted it to sound happy and innocent. Red balloons meant danger, or I'm not safe. Visiting Aunt Clara meant call the police, even though we didn't have an Aunt Clara. Piano lessons meant someone is hurting me, which was darkly specific for a 7-year-old. Making lemonade meant I'm scared but can't talk freely. The beach house meant I'm being taken somewhere against my will, referencing our family vacation spot in Mendocino. We practiced it like a game for months, slipping coded phrases into normal conversations at dinner or during car rides. If I said I was thinking about red balloons, Iris would immediately respond with the safety phrase, which was Dad bought flowers, meaning everything is actually fine. If she didn't respond with that phrase, I was supposed to take her seriously. By the time Iris turned 10, we'd mostly forgotten about the Sunshine System. But when Iris turned 14, she started dating a boy named Cody from her freshman class. He seemed fine at first, polite when he came to pick her up, decent grades, played JV basketball. My ex-wife liked him because he was on the student council. I had a weird feeling about him that I couldn't explain. Something about how he'd steer Iris away from her friends when they hung out in groups, but I chalked it up to being an overprotective dad. 3 months into their relationship, Iris's texts started changing. She'd always been a frequent texter, sending me memes and random thoughts throughout the day, but suddenly her messages got shorter and less frequent. When I'd ask how school was, she'd respond with one-word answers. When I'd suggest we grab dinner, she'd say she had plans with Cody. I mentioned it to my ex-wife, but she said I was being paranoid and that teenagers naturally pull away from their parents. She said Iris was just growing up and I needed to give her space. The texts that did come through seemed fine on the surface, but something felt off. They sounded like Iris, but also not quite right. Too formal, too careful, missing the random tangents and emoji spam that usually characterized her messages. Then, on a Wednesday night, I got a text that made me pause. Had a great day today. Cody took me to look at red balloons for the Valentine's dance. We might do piano lessons together since we both need to learn. The dance committee is thinking about having it at the beach house venue. Thinking of making lemonade for the bake sale. My hands started shaking as I read it. Every single sentence contained a code phrase. Red balloons, piano lessons, beach house, making lemonade. But there was no safety phrase. No Dad bought flowers to indicate she was joking. I stared at my phone trying to convince myself I was overreacting. That she was just randomly using phrases that happened to match our old code. But Iris never mentioned the Valentine's dance to me before. She wasn't on the dance committee. And we didn't have a beach house venue in town. She'd deliberately packed every warning signal into one message, which meant this wasn't accidental. Someone was hurting her. Someone was making her scared, and she couldn't tell me directly. I immediately called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. I tried 3 more times with the same result. I texted asking if she was okay and got no response. I called my ex-wife, who said Iris was sleeping over at her friend Mallory's house, and I was being ridiculous for panicking over nothing. I drove to Mallory's house anyway and rang the doorbell at 9:30 at night. Mallory's mom answered looking confused and said Iris wasn't there, that she hadn't seen Iris in weeks actually. She asked if everything was okay, and I mumbled something about mixed up plans before running back to my car. I called my ex-wife again, and she finally admitted that Iris wasn't at Mallory's. She was actually staying at Cody's house because his parents were out of town, and she was helping him study. The casual way she said it made my blood boil. Our 14-year-old daughter was at her boyfriend's house overnight with no adults present, and my ex thought that was fine. I asked for Cody's address, and she refused to give it to me, saying I was going to embarrass Iris by showing up like a crazy person. We argued for 5 minutes before she finally sent me the address just to get me off the phone. I drove there going 20 over the speed limit, my mind racing through all the worst possibilities. When I pulled up to Cody's house, all the lights were off except for one upstairs window. I sat in my car for a minute trying to decide what to do. Then I saw movement in the lit window, someone pacing back and forth, and I heard yelling. Male voice, loud and angry, though I couldn't make out the words. I got out of the car and tried the front door, which was unlocked. The house was trashed, furniture knocked over in the living room, broken glass on the kitchen floor. I took the stairs 2 at a time and followed the sound of Cody's voice to a bedroom at the end of the hall. The door was closed but not locked, and that's when things took a turn I never expected. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.